Everybody, hope you're enjoying your camp. This is Meggernie Outdoor Centre. Welcome to Meggernie. My name's Rab. Behind the camera is Judith. We're the wardens here. This is our campsite, some of it. And as you can see, there's trees all over the place. It's a great place to do nature, but you can do your nature in your garden, in the park, or even on your windowsill flower box. Because sometimes if you're in the middle of town, it could be as quiet as this. And you'll hear things and see things if you're very, very quiet. Let's take a walk. Now there's a few things when you go for a walk in the countryside or wherever. You try and keep to footpaths, and you still see a lot of things outside the footpaths. And over here, we've got what you call a big bird cherry tree. That's massive. And look at the bushes in it, the branches. And it's very bushy, and it's a great hidey hole if you go behind it. So, this is the bird cherry. Now, as we get closer, you'll see the young cherries coming through. This is just for birds really, this is not for human eating.
There's something a bit weird there, Ram.
Oh, what's that? Yeah.
I don't know. Could be some sort of caterpillar?
Now, do you think we could ask them to look it up? What kind of caterpillar or moth?
Might be on a bird cherry.
Yep.
Let's see what they come up with.
Right. Well, we go inside and have a look.
Could do.
Ooh, here we go.
See if the camera picks it up because it's a bit dark. Oops.
So, not quite spectacular. Now, a lot of people like climbing trees, and you see this one, it's fantastic for climbing. But there's a few rules climbing trees. First of all, make sure it's safe, make sure you've got permission to climb it. And technically speaking, I'm one of these people that says you shouldn't really climb trees. Because there's two things. You could get hurt, and the tree gets hurt. Because over the years, people have climbed this, and there's odd bits you could see that's died away where their feet's been digging into the bark, just like skin. And it started to kill the tree off. So there's all these things. Yes, it's nice to climb trees, but safety on the tree and for yourself. And it's nice just to look at this big, big tree that goes way up. Oh, this is one of the ancient trees. This is what you call an oak. See the leaves? I'm trying to look for a nice leaf for you. That's probably the nicest leaf. See how it goes? That's an oak. Very hard wood. Build a lot of furniture, shit with oak.
Does it grow quickly?
It takes a long, long time.
And I wonder what the seeds look like on this.
There's another question.
What's in there, Rob?
Well, in there's a lot of different trees. Silver buck, rosehip, more oak. Now, these oaks here are probably about 25, 26 years old. They're not that big, looking at the trunk here. But also in here, this is what you call a nightline course.
Is that the same as a blindfold trail?
That's the very same as a blind trail, where you get goggles on and helmets and you go through.
That sounds really good fun.
That is good fun.
Okay.
It tests all your senses.
I wonder.
And smells.
What's on this side then? Because
this
it's
side,
a bit shut off.
At this precise moment, we're upgrading this. This is where we put the hammocks. You can see some of the cords and carabiners on the trees here. So the 7 hammocks goes in here with tarpaulins, and you sleep in them and you watch the stars and what have you and listen to the nature, which is the important thing.
It opens out and it's so much brighter.
This is one of the camping fields. Nice soft grass, flat area. It's what we call the cemetery field.
Why is that, Ram?
Now you see that top corner there, where the white stones are, and the ivy hanging over the wall? That's a cemetery. And that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years.
So a lot of history.
Yep.
So what are all those white flowers on the field then? Let's have a little look down here. There's been a rabbit, and beside the rabbit there's little white flowers. And 3 leaves. Looks like clover to me. Excellent.
Clover. That's what all these are. And then the trees in front here, on the side, and the reeds, as willow.
Okay.
Now as we go through this gate, This is what we call a bushcraft area.
That looks like it's recycled from something, Rab.
It is, it's all recycled stuff. It's silver birch, most of it's a silver birch.
So that's just thinnings from
And
places.
then old, yep, and then an old marquee top. And it's just a great place to do your bushcraft. We do arcs and saw work, we do two-man saws, what have you, show you how to use different axes.
There's a shelter over there as well.
There is a shelter for survival.
Excellent.
And then this square bit, this is going to be a lot of fire area.
That should stop it getting muddy where people always have a fire, shouldn't it?
Yep, that's good. There's nothing worse than standing in the mud watching the fire. So, down here, there's not much to see. There's the oak again, nice oak, young oak.
There's a frog.
Oh, there's a frog. Do I get a frog? No, I'm not chasing it. It's too fast for me. Now again, if you come up here, I'll tell you there is people and frogs.
We might find, you never know.
You never know.
Oh, what's this?
Oh, there we go.
We've got some berries starting on there.
So,
Let's have a little
what
look.
colour do they go?
I think they go bright orangey red. And I'm going to say a rowan. And the birds really like it. But I'm just looking at these leaves up here. That looks like there's been some sort of leaf miner. Some little grub in there. These. So that's been something over the spring. That's actually where all the bluebells were. And behind that, we've got these little yellow flowers that actually are related to the strawberry plant. But it's called tomental. And they used to use the roots for tanning leather. I think that must have taken an awful lot of it. What's that, Rab? It's
That's
like
what you call, that's a stove. So, down at the bottom here, you put, you kindle your fire on the stone in front here, push it in, and it roars, and you put your frying pan or whatever on top of your kettle.
Bit of a rocket stove going on then.
Rocket stove. So we're on the kind of nature trail now. When you're looking for nature stuff or whatever, open your eyes up to the sky, to the left, to the right, and that's where you see things. Because I could see somebody's house. And that's probably a vole of the, not a mole, a vole.
Okay.
It's a mouse family kind of. And this tells you what it is straight away.
Okay, so look at the colour of the bark. We know what it is. Little shield-shaped leaves. And it's a silver birch. But, can you see all this stuff growing on it? Can you see that?
Especially on this side.
Yeah. On this side there's so much more of it. That's lichen. And it grows on the trees in Glenlyon really, really well because the air is really clear. But it especially likes the north side. And that is the north in Meggernie.
Bang on.
Absolutely bang on. Yeah, as Rab said. So you can tell which direction it is. Excellent. I think down here, Rab, I spotted something earlier that's actually got fruit on it.
Oh, fruit?
Yeah, fruit. Food. Yeah.
We like food.
So we've got some little raspberries, some wild raspberries growing here, and they've started to get fruit on them. They're quite soft, aren't they? Down there. Excellent. So hopefully we'll get quite a few more growing there. Oh!
Oh! There was actually a vole went into this little house. I don't know if Judith caught it on the camera, but it just ran across the path. We have, especially, see this mossy stuff, that means there's stones there underneath.
There's so many little houses under here.
It's like a little city, and they find these holes in the stones underneath the moss. And we have a lot. We've got thousands of them here, but that's good for the owls, the barn owl that we've got here, and the Tonys. As you can see, we've been planting.
There's lots of new trees, aren't there?
Yep. Over the last number of years, we've planted 2,000 plus trees, bushes.
So these in front of us, they were the Scout Centenary ones, weren't they? So they're 2007.
That's correct.
And that was Scouts, all the Scouts that visited us over that winter planted them, didn't they?
And it's made a beautiful hedge, and the birds love it. Just a field on the other side.
I think we can hear some of the birds.
Oh, that's right. Let's see what we could find. Now don't look at the cart, especially when we...
Oh, what do you think that has been?
That is somebody's droppings. Or in other words, poo.
And whose poo's that?
I think it's somebody's poo. It has got a pointy face, and it's brown and white, and a big bushy tail.
A fox.
A fox.
So it could have been getting shrews and voles and things.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So that's nature. Everything looks after itself.
And there's more little houses going on. Oh, I can see some droppings outside this one. Just in front there, those little tiny droppings there. Yeah. And then
it's like a little city here.
These little tiny flowers. This is called lady's bedstraw.
And what's this here? This is quite... some people get mixed up with this being hogweed.
Really?
And just because it's the white flowers on top.
It's quite soft, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's totally different, and it smells absolutely delicious.
Oh, it smells like you could cook with that. It smells just like dill. I wonder if it is dill.
So there we go. That's dill.
Wow.
Wild dill. Now, as I say along this track in the summer, you usually see the little common lizard running about.
So it's just not quite sunny and warm enough for the lizard today, is it?
Look at that. Multi-story.
A lot of bracken in this bit.
This stuff here. No.
Can we see? Yeah. Watch your fingers, Rab. This is a do not try this at home.
If you're ever making shelters of that, you've probably done this already actually. If you use this stuff for covering and all the rest of it. As you can see it makes a nice thatched roof. Okay. But it does cover, once it starts, it does cover the place quite a lot.
Yeah, it's got all these little tiny curls when they're starting to grow out. I think there's something else you have to be careful with bracken for, isn't there?
It is. Wee beasties.
Little tiny beasties. Ticks. So just be really careful if you've been through bracken. Okay, what did you see there, Rab?
Long grass, actually.
What did you see there, Rab? Okay, that feathery stuff.
Yep.
And it's got these little... I've got the camera angle right here. Okay. These little flowers at the top. I think they will open out to little white flowers, don't they?
It's almost like the dill in a way, but it's white flowers. The very same, but this leaf is totally different.
And I think they can go to pink as well, the flowers.
And actually goes...
Does that smell as well?
Oh, smell that.
Awesome. That smells different though.
This is totally different from the dill. This is what you call yarrow. Now, yarrow is used in a lot of different herbal medicines to this day. In olden times, you could stop bleeding with it. And what you do is get this green bit here.
To the leaves.
And maybe some of the stem of that. And you mush it up so it's all wet and
Right.
sappy.
Okay.
It's what you call a poultice. And you stick it in your cut.
It stops nosebleeds. I think they just fuck it up their nose. We're not trying that. It's got real nose things. And there's a nice rose up there, the big bird. Oh, definitely.
And I think that's a rowan down there that's just grown itself, because that's not been planted there.
No, we didn't plant that, no.
Because it's way off where the other ones are. So, if that's been planted by nature, And it grows from a red berry. I wonder how that happened, Rab.
Could be different circumstances. It could be the wind, or foxes eat the berries. So it's like, how could I put this now? If you were to eat sweet corn and you go to the toilet, what happens? It's the same with the berries. It comes through their system and they just get planted wherever.
So they're probably bright orangey red so that the birds and the animals think that's going to be really good.
Yep.
And then they go through them
And they
and they plant them themselves.
Could be planted miles away.
Excellent. Might have been sitting up on that electric pole.
So also when you're out walking things, so you'll be barefoot, you'll be bears when they do, but scout shoes, I keep your feet dry and good dress.
What have you seen there?
I've seen a feather.
Okay, let's have a look. Whose feather is this? Oh. That looks like a pheasant. A female pheasant.
I would say so.
Yeah, it's totally different on the two sides, isn't it? That short side and the long side. Might just leave that
next
there.
To the feather,
What's next to the feather?
Pretty suspicious that a feather's there.
Okay.
There's also a track through this
Oh,
long grass. It goes
Right.
through the trees. It'll probably go into the field. So that could either be a hare, could be the pheasant itself,
okay.
but it could be a fox. Suspicious that there's feather there.
Only one
trap.
feather though.
Or maybe the pheasant was quick enough to get out of the way.
Have you seen this plant here? That looks a bit like docks when you look at the seed head, but the bottom of it has got these funny leaves on it with 2 points at the bottom.
Like these ones. Yeah,
Like those ones, do they look better? That's called sheep sorrel. And all these little bits are the flowers and then the seed heads. Cool.
Oh, here's another tree.
This looks like a really old tree.
It is a very old tree. It doesn't look an old tree, but it is an old tree. And it's got fruit on it.
Oh.
Now, let me see if I could find a
Can you
decent one.
reach those down a bit? Oh,
I don't want to break the
No, no.
branch.
oh here we go. Here we go. This might be a bit clear. Oh, just about here.
Can you see that? Now they grow into about that size. And believe it or not, that's an apple. One of these ones there.
Yeah.
And it's called a crab apple. Makes nice jellies.
But not really very nice for eating,
Not
are
a
they?
bit sour.
So this has got a different sort of lichen growing on it. And it's just smothering it. There's some new trees there, aren't there? They're just planted in the spring. Let's see what they...
Yep, and the tubes there.
What will the tubes do?
It protects them from the rabbits, the hares.
Probably the voles and things like that as well.
Everything that'll chew vegetarians for. Oh, what's this? Another way.
It's quite feathery, isn't it?
Mm.
And then it's got these little leaves. That's meadow sweet.
Oh, meadow sweet.
Has it got medicinal properties to it?
And it's like an aspirin. So you would take aspirin.
So a
especially
painkiller.
The leaves. Is like an aspirin.
Right. There's a lot of these plants that are really useful, aren't there?
No, every plant's useful.
Yeah,
For
but
different things, like that. You think that are just a nuisance. But the butterflies come to them, and the bees.
so is that a kind of thistle?
That's a thistle.
Oh, hazel. Got hazel here.
Oh, hazel.
So hopefully we'll get hazelnuts and things going on there. And you can see, if I can get right into here, you can see lots of little branches coming up at the bottom, little shoots. And they should be useful for making things out of.
I like to see if there's any nests there. Well, I can't see anyone. Because this is where the fish will fit out, so it's bring bugs' nests back into this area, all different types of bugs. As you can see, there's one more thing in it. I'll take a wee.
We've actually seen more animals this wee while back because there's nobody in the centre. And it just seems to be the animals are just getting more and more.
They've maybe been there all the time, but they're just more happy to move about. Oh, I can see something growing up here. This white fuzzy stuff.
Oh, is that not just spit?
Well, who spit?
Is that a frog spit?
It's called frog spit, or cuckoo spit.
Yes.
And there is the little bug. And that's called a frog hopper. And if we get it out of it's going. And once it starts to dry out, it might just decide to jump. Yeah, it's working out how it's going to just pop. Yep, tail going up.
So why is it covered in white foam?
I think it protects it, actually. I'm not sure. Maybe they could find out for us and let us know.
Question.
I'm actually just going to put it back because I'm feeling a bit rotten having disturbed it from it.
Most things do tell if you find the animals or insects.
Yeah, and let it make some up.
Well, look at them would be the best thing. But never pick them up, especially when it's, because we've got a lot of hares here, and the leverets just hide in the grass. A lot of people think they're hurt, and they're not, they're just hiding from you. And mother will come back. But if you move it, mother won't come back. What's that prehistoric kind of
Looking thing.
What does it look like? It looks like a
Horsetail.
horse tail.
Yeah.
To me they look like wee prehistoric tree bushes kind of thing. Which they probably are, they'll probably be millions of years old. Now, the trees are getting thicker again. And we're still looking. Eyes to the left, there's an air track there. Eyes to the right. Oh, look at that tree. Is that the same as what we were talking about at the beginning? An oak tree. A mighty oak. Now, that's a big tree, isn't it, compared to that other one?
Big old tree.
Now, we go up this wee slope. When we come to slopes, you just got to take your time and try not to disturb anything. And this is where the boots and the wellies come in. Oh, there's somebody's house. Do you think that's a little gnome's house or elf's house?
I don't know.
Oh, I think so.
Maybe we have to put the wildlife camera out.
Watch up on the door. Nope, there's nobody in.
No, but if we're just quiet, we can maybe hear.
I could hear the bucks
I can hear the river.
on the river.
Seems quite a busy place for birds. I'm gonna go right up to the tree and see if we can look right up the branches.
The black thing up there.
Why is there a black plastic barrel up a tree, Rab?
That's an owl's nesting box. Because we got a lot of owls here. As they say earlier, we get bunnies and we get barn owls.
There's another oak tree and a wooden box. So it's another owl box.
That one's for a barn owl.
Okay. Well, shall we go in here? What's this?
This is what we call our nature house, where we could sit down and look out the same window here and see what we could see between the birds, because there's feeders and there's nuts out. Sometimes we get red squirrels here and other different types of birds. And there's the river down there. Now, This could be the next question. What do you call the river that goes past Meggernie Centre?
So there's a fence between us and that, isn't there? There's a deer fence.
Yep.
So that'll keep the deer out of the centre.
Exactly. We don't have. There's a deer fence all the way around the centre, and it keeps the deer out and the sheep.
So all these trees that have grown round about here have come after it stopped being a farm, haven't they?
Yep. All the trees from here now, kind of thing, have all been natural cedar planted trees.
Wow.
So they've done it this year.
So lots of rowan, lots of birch.
But this is a nice spot for just being quiet and just listen and watch. But in this river, the one you're going to name, and I'll find out, is a salmon river. So the salmon are coming up there now, and there's trout in it. But you have to find that name, and I will tell you the address to send your answers to. The first 10 that comes in, you'll get a Meggernie badge set to you.
Shall we move on?
Yep.
Because I think we're not going to get any birds just there.
Not today. So we're coming out the hide. Oh,
Shall we close the door?
we better close the door.
No, keep it safe in there. What's that orange and white sign up there?
That's one of the volunteering course signs.
Oh.
Which we have 3 courses here. From a sharpish one to a long one.
Right.
Now you can see the difference here. It's damp and just leaves, dead leaves on the ground because there's a lot more trees.
Could also be we're on the north side of this hilly bit, aren't we? So this will never get the sun really.
Exactly.
Like direct sun, so it'll stay damp. Yeah. It's like that's a little track going up there.
But also, I think we've had that much rain this wee while back, it's actually
Right,
running down.
okay.
Just making a water trail really. There's the rock.
The rock's really near the surface.
It's near the
isn't it?
surface, yeah. You'll probably see it further along.
It's probably why it's so mossy as well. Seen a mole here having a little dig, and it's taking its track along there. Made a little whole hill here, and there's some mossy rock as well.
Yeah. And look at the bottom out there, it's wet.
Yeah.
All the different types of mosses there.
Excellent.
I must admit, that's pretty good. See the arch. A young one. Look at that young one. Oh, there's something.
What do you see?
This could be another question.
Oh,
What kind of rock?
the white rock.
The white rock. What's it called? Oh, it's a seam. Look at it. It goes right past there.
What?
Oh.
I think we've had somebody picking. It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
This paper is really good, and you're often told to collect that for lighting fires, but the trouble is, if you go too deep and you go all the way around the tree, then you damage it and it might die.
It's like the same as climbing. And if you damage the skin, it's just like if you damage your skin, it's quite serious.
So you're actually better if you take the birch bark off a log that you've got maybe, rather than off a living tree.
I'll be very gentle.
Yeah. Some bits will naturally just peel off. It's just coming off very gently.
You can look up the hill at the top there, in front of us, if you can see it through the tree. Now, what do you think you call that hill? And sometimes at the top there you can see the deer running across that ridge there.
Just on the skyline.
Very quiet. Now this tree in front, this big tree, remember the nice wee silver birches with the nice shiny bark? That's the very same tree. When they get older, the bark gets rougher. But as you can see at the bottom, you can see the silver. So that's a big silver birch.
It's got all that lichen growing on it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah. So that's been about for a little while compared to the ones down there. And they'll be natural off of this. This will be the parent one, and that's all its children there. This is the longest glen in Scotland. It's 32 miles long. And some people call it the Three Hills Glen. Why? Because they say it's the longest, loneliest
And loveliest.
glen in Scotland. So it's roughly 32 miles long. As you can see, we've got a lot of different trees in front of us now. We've got larch, beeches, other different trees there.
There's an oak tree there, a little one, and
They're
it's
rare.
got a rowan growing up the middle of it.
And this is your washing. Everybody keeps saying it's your washing. It's been out for months now. I think
Since
it's 102 days because it's a rainbow.
there's birds flying along the grass. Are they collecting maybe midges?
Well, they collect midges, and other insects obviously.
Yeah.
They do it in flight. Sometimes you see them at night on the river.
So they're the ones with the forked tail.
Forked tail, big long forked tail, and they've got a red chin kind of thing neck.
So they're swallows.
Yep. So this is one of our lawns here, almost at the tail end of the nature trail. And over to the left there is our outdoor archery.
And now we're heading to anybody that's been here before would remember a notice board and a roundabout and a cover. It got changed by a storm at the beginning of the year, so we've now made it into a little sitting area. So what we're going to do here, Ram?
We're going to show you,
I can see some things.
there's things here that just some of the things we collect. Now, a lot of people ask us about the skulls and that. Did we kill them? No, we didn't. You just pick them up. If you keep your eyes open, you'll pick all these things up, especially here.
What's this? I'm sure the forestry students gave us this years ago.
This is what you call, it's a housefly red squirrel. Right? Quite fancy, isn't it? Now, it's called a dray, a squirrel's dray. And what happens is, there's a hole
I think it's a bit further.
in there, usually on the same side as the tree, so it's sheltered, and it makes its nest inside of its young.
So it's like a round ball, really, isn't
It's
it?
like, and it's just moss and grass and bits of branches, and they move the house quite often. They move the brews quite often because, especially when they've got young and that's got insects in it and fleas and what have you. So this one's alright, right? So they move the house quite often.
So they're not very good at tidying the bedroom, are they, and doing a bit of housework?
Exactly.
So they just move house?
And always, whatever, whether it be beaver, cub, scout, explorer, scout, you care what their bedrooms are like, but you don't move house just because of that. So keep things tidy, in other words. So, where will we go first, Joe?
Oh. Shall we go with this one first? Nearest one to me?
Now, what do you think this is? This is what we call, especially in the countryside or the farming community or whatever, we call this a male sheep, and it's a black face. Right. So, as you can see, the big horns, round and round. Right. Sometimes longer than that. Right, now, next question I'm going to ask you for this badge. What's the horns made of? And that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, we'll talk about horns. Now, we all know what this is, hopefully. This is a red deer antler. They fall off every year, and it's quite strong. If you ever hear them fighting like that, it's with something like that in the countryside. So this is made out of bone. Right? Not like the top.
So that one isn't bone then?
No, that's something totally different.
Oh, right, okay.
And they're going to find out from it. Now, do you think this is the same as this? And what's happened to it?
Well, it looks like it's been burnt.
Burnt?
It's black at that top bit.
No.
Can I have a look? A closer look. It's got little marks on it.
What kind of marks?
No. They look like teeth marks.
Teeth marks?
Got a paper label on it. And that definitely looks like it's been nibbled. It's had a good chew at that bit.
So you're trying to say something's there?
It looks like something's had an eat at it.
Right, now the answer is, mind what I said about this, what it was made out of? It was made out of tough.
That was made out of bone.
Excellent. So, if you've got a dog and you give it a bone, you've always got this black stuff in the middle.
Like the marrow.
The marrow. So, the marrow and the bone are full of. Here's a question. If you've ever had a deli triangle cheese,
Other cheese triangles are available.
what do they advertise that's good for you in that triangle?
So what's good?
Starts with C.
Good for bones.
Good for bones.
So that'll be in the white part, not the marrow, I'm thinking. Yeah. Excellent. So is that another question?
I think we'll look at a question, eh?
Okay. Right. Moving on.
But also, what I'm going to say is, it's not a dog, it's Judith. It could be a fox right enough for that, but, or other animals. It could be the deer itself that's Judith. Right, here's another antler, a very small one. Right. This is what you call a, do you know, Judith?
That one's a roe deer. Is that fallen off as well?
That's fell off too, right? And this is a buck. So that's the same as a stag, a male, but you call them bucks. And that's a full length.
So am I right in thinking the big ones fall off the red deer probably beginning of the summer?
Yep.
And then they grow new ones, but they don't look like that when they start growing them?
No, they've got a skin on them called velvet. Nice soft skin to protect the...
So while they grow in, they're
the
covered.
blood flowing in there.
Okay. What have you got next?
I think we'll go for this. No, we'll go for this one. Change my mind. Right. Now we've talked about this one a few times.
It's lost a few teeth.
It has. There's a bit red on it.
Looks a bit rusty.
Right. Might give you a wee clue. This is a fox. Right. Dealt with the teeth, just like a dog. This pointy nose.
They look like little razors, little pointy teeth, aren't they?
Yep, you want a bit closer there?
Close up. Yeah. So really sharp razory teeth. So they must use those for tearing at meat, thinking.
It's almost like...
So I'm just going to pick up the tup again, because its teeth are totally different, aren't they? They're grinding teeth. Yeah. There we go. And what's the other one you've got there? Oh, except it's got huge holes there.
What is that?
What would go in there?
I would say that's the eyes.
So the eyes are in there. What would be here?
Ooh, that would be ears.
The ears must make up a big part of its head, really.
Yep. Well, if you think of it, you've got your, well, say we're in the skull of that.
Yeah.
You've got your muscles, your skin or whatever, fur. So it does make it look bigger.
Yeah. So you've got one last skull there, Ram.
And this one could talk. It goes, hello.
Oh, that's a bit weird.
It's quite unusual, isn't it? Because usually if you pick it like the foxes,
They don't have the bottom jaw, do they?
The bottom jaw. Now that's a sure sign for this animal, right? If you ever find one, the bottom jaw never is a part of the skull.
So it's, can I look a bit closer? It's got this really clever hinge bit here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it stays on.
Where it's muscles and like say dogs and all the rest, it's the same place.
So this looks like it's got some teeth it's managed to wear away a bit, actually. But the ones that are left there, they're quite sharp, a little bit like the fox ones there. So it's going to eat meat, I'm thinking, rather than
Probably a bit bigger than
grass.
a fox's teeth.
A bit bigger than a fox's teeth. It's just not got many left, because I think it's quite old.
Yep.
Okay, but it's also got this, it's got a Mohican.
It's got a fin, yep.
I wonder why it's got a Mohican.
And it's one of the sure things, if you ever find a skull like that, you know what that animal is. Straight off. The hinge jaw, the Mohican,
So this ridge along here.
and this one's, this animal is black and white. It's not a panda.
So this is a badger.
It's a badger.
So what's going to fasten on here?
Same again, its eyes and all this.
Yeah, but I think something really important fastens across here so that it can go snap
Big muscle.
and crunch. So it's got really big muscles there, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's a very strong skull when it's all put together. One of the hardest skulls about.
Okay, oh. Excellent.
So, to finish off, hopefully you've enjoyed yourself. Now, we want these answers to come to the badges, the first 10 correct answers. And we'll maybe split them up from Cub Scouts or what, all the different sections. So, there we go.
So that's us. I think this is really
And that's us. And
the
all we
end.
can say now is, hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of your calm.